Hello scrappers! Time for yet another Teardown, Scrap Out, Depopulate, and Sort Out the Bits video. And today up on the table I've got a couple of Force10 modules, networking modules. Love the telecom equipment, especially Force10 stuff when I can get it. This is some really good stuff. So let me give you a close-up of what do we got here. We got a 48 port switch module here, Ethernet switch module, and over here it looks like a 16 port gigabit optical I don't know, router or switch module, one or the other. I'm not sure exactly what this thing is, but it definitely got optical ports. It looks like, actually it's like 10 gigabit maybe. Ooh, this must have been a pricey piece of kit when it was originally purchased, but apparently these are no good. In fact, this one even says bad right on it. They'll tell you right there, we're dealing with scrap. So in fact, it even looks like it's been left out in the weather for a while. It's rusty in spots and discolored. So I'm not even going to bother with attempting to figure out what these things are worth for resale value. I'm just going to scrap them out and take the good stuff off of them. And oh my, there is a lot of good stuff on them. I do love the Force10 equipment when I can get it, because the way they build their boards is kind of odd compared to the way other manufacturers do it. They've kind of got this big back section on a lot of their boards, and it's connected to the boards up front with these big connectors. And there are big chunky gold pins on the power connectors on both boards. And then there's a lot of gold pins inside these aluminum shell connectors for the data. So there's a lot of gold pins interconnecting the various parts of these boards together. I'm not sure why they do it that way, but I'm not going to argue with them as long as I wind up getting the scrap. So we also got, let me go around the other side. We also got lots of gold pins over here. Big chunky power gold pins in here, data pins in here. Same thing over here. Chunky power pins, data pins, lots of them in here. And they're probably pressed in, which means they'll come out easy. Haha, famous last words, but usually they come out easy. So it's a beautiful thing. And then underneath these heat sinks, probably there's going to be big white ceramic BGAs. In fact, on this board, under the smaller heat sinks, I can see the edges of them. So I'm not happy about that, because those big white ceramic BGAs generally don't have any precious metals in them that I can recover. But there's a lot of other little heat sinks here which may have more interesting stuff under them, especially on this one up here. There's a lot of little heat sinks up front on it. There's a lot of other BGAs up here which I know are going to have gold in them. And another beautiful thing about the Force10 boards is they are usually double-sided. And from this pattern right here, that tells me there's probably BGAs on the other side of the boards underneath these patterns, because this pattern here has a lot of MLCCs on it, and that usually means there's a big BGA chip on the other side of the board. So double-sided is a beautiful thing. It's like double your money. Go back around the front. So obviously with this 48 port switch module, we've got 48 Ethernet ports, each with 8 gold-plated pins in it, so that's nice. I see lots of gold pins up here, all over the board. Lots of gold pins sticking up, and of course there's lots of gold pins in here. Over here, yeah, pretty much the same thing. Gold pins here, lots of gold pins up here, gold pins over here. Oh, and each of these 16 optical modules has a little connector with gold pins in it. So that's a beautiful thing. Alright, let me get the camera up on the tripod and we'll commence the teardown. It should not take long because they're just modules. Basically, I just need to take the boards off of the carrier plate and pop a few heat sinks off and pull out some gold pins, and then the boards will be ready to depopulate in the kiln. Alright, let me get it on the tripod. Yes, I do like the Force10 equipment when I can get it, which is not as often as I'd like, for sure. Okay, let me just start taking screws out. Well, actually, before I start that, let me take the ram stick out. Get that out of the way. Then I'll start taking screws out. If I can get this back board off, then I'll work on the front boards. Yeah, there are a lot of gold pin headers on this board, and they look like they are surface mount, which is nice. They will come off in the kiln really easy. Okay, what else is holding you on? There's something else holding you on. Ah, I see. They were blending in because they'd rusted. Like I said, this thing looks like it's been outside for a while. Okay, there's still something holding it. Probably missed a screw or two somehow. Or there's screws on the other side. No? Could it just be the connectors holding it together? Maybe. No, I don't think so. Yeah, maybe. I think, yeah, there we go. Okay. I don't know what was holding it, but it's not holding it now. Okay, good. If I can get these connectors apart. There we go. Now they're starting to come apart. Okay. Ah, there we go. Ah, that's what's holding all the little silicone heatsink stuff. Yes, because look at that. Is that a beautiful double-sided board or what? Wow. Look at all of the BGA chips. Oh, we are in the gold now. We got one ceramic one purple ceramic one here, which probably not worth much, but all these other BGAs, they're going to be good for gold. Even got a couple gold corner BGAs here. Lots of, ooh, big chunky MLCCs. Good stuff. The board even has some gold plating on it, but I'm sure it's very thin, like flash plating. It's not going to amount to anything. Still, I may put the board through the Eco Goldex gold stripper anyway, just to see if I can get any gold off of it. So, what I should do probably is take some of these heat sinks off. Yeah, that's what I thought. The big white ceramic BGAs, which really, as far as I can tell, don't contain any gold or other recoverable precious metals. Maybe a refiner could get something out of them by smelting them, but I can't get anything out of them. Except these big chunky aluminum heat sinks. These are some serious heat sinks. There's a lot of weight there. Let's see what's under these little heat sinks. Hopefully something good. Yes, gold corner BGA. Good. There's one, two. Oh, that's nice. Yep, it's a trifecta. 3 gold corner BGAs under these little heat sinks. Okay, so that's great. I do love the gold corner BGAs. And if you've watched some of my previous videos, you know where I process them. Gold corner BGAs are a little over 1% by weight gold. And it's really easy to recover. So that's a beautiful thing. Okay, I want to do some other stripping of this board before I do the depopulating of it in the kiln, but I'm going to set it aside right now. And we'll get these other boards off of the carrier plate here. And it looks like for that, I'm going to have to take some screws out on the back here. And for that, I'm going to need to change drill bits. Alright, I had to do a little hunting for the drill bit that I need. A lot of my tools are in my truck because I had to go help out a client of mine with a piece of equipment that was broken. Not knowing what I was getting into, I loaded a lot of tools in the truck just so I'd have them with me. And I have another little job I need to do tomorrow, so I left the tools in the truck just in case they're needed for that job. So I'm kind of working with my second string tool set here. But we seem to be getting the job done. Oh yeah, this is another weird thing that Force 10 does. You got these two boards up front. You got them latched together in a funky way. I missed a screw. I don't see a screw. Something is holding these boards in. Not sure what. This one seems ready to come out. The other one not so much. Huh, there's a screw under a sticker. So it sure seems like yes, there's a screw under the sticker. I see it now. They always hide one under the stickers. What's up with that? Alright, so, big hunk of steel. No real use to me. It's a nice piece of steel, though. But still, got no real use for it. And I got these two boards here, and they are connected by this funky little connector here. Which I suppose has something to do with maintaining a proper ground plane. I don't know. So now we got these two boards. Not so double-sided here. Lots of MLCCs on the back and a couple little ICs. That's about it. There's a lot of good stuff on the front, though. Yeah. Alright. I'm going to take some more stuff off this board before it goes in the kiln, but for now, I'm just going to set it aside. Clear some of the debris out of the way, and we'll start on this one. This one doesn't explicitly say it's bad, but I got a bad feeling about it. It came with the same batch. I'm sure it's probably no good. Let's see here. Doesn't really say what they are. Oh, 250 megabytes. 250 megabytes. Yeah. These might be worth looking up to see if they resell. Even though they're low density, sometimes they're specialized for this kind of equipment. And every once in a while, somebody needs a replacement part. So I'll look these up before I scrap them out. Otherwise, you know, we got gold fingers, got lots of RAM chips. There's probably more gold in the RAM chips than there is in the gold fingers. Okay, and then this is just more of the same. Take the boards off. So I imagine there's probably going to be a lot of those silicone heat transfer pieces on the back of this one holding it down too. Yep. But once you break them loose, there we go. There's the first board. Yeah, just like the other one. Double-sided. In fact, it's got a lot of the same parts on it. Purple ceramic BGA, gold corner BGA, lots of small BGAs, lots of great big MLCCs, the gold flashing, which I can tell is thin by where it's been worn off at the screw holes. It's really thin. Didn't notice that. Oh, those aren't gold plated. There's some fuses there. A lot of times they're gold plated. These aren't. Okay, let's see what's under these heat sinks. Pretty sure, yeah, more of what we had before. Okay, I can't do anything with these. Boy, a pretty pattern on them. I don't know if that's showing up on the camera. It's like rainbow colors on the dies there. That is a gold corner BGA. That's nice. Okay. And of course we got a couple on this side. That's nice. Okay. We set this board aside and see if I can get this one out. Wow, that's got some nice gold band oscillators on it. And more gold plated header pins, surface mount. They'll come right off. That's beautiful. Okay. No stickers, so I shouldn't miss any screws this time. I don't know what that's all about. I would say it's somebody's artwork, but very strange. Very strange. Ah, and then there's some screws on this side. Okay. This is not going to come apart quite as easy, apparently. Let's see if I can take this front panel off. That may illuminate me as to how to further proceed. Oh. Okay. What am I missing here? Let's see, any more screws to take out? But maybe there are. Oh, tiny, tiny, tiny little hex screws. Tiny. I think they're all that's holding it together still. They're the only screws I still see. Let's see. Ah! Brute force got it. That's good because my Allen wrench sets in the truck. I'd have to troop over to get it. Okay. Well, this board has a couple big metal back BGAs on the back of it, and some big tantalums, and a whole lot of little tiny MLCCs. Not much else. Another big chunk of steel. Again, no real use to me. Oh! Laser cut. Laser cut. That's what that was. I don't know why they cut those lines in there, but neat. Sure they didn't do it for fun. Had to be a reason. Alright, let's have a look under these. Yes. More gold corner BGAs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 more. Beautiful. Each one must handle 4 ports, I guess. else. I'm just inventing that relationship in my mind. And one more little heat sinks. Boy, my heat sink pile's getting big, isn't it? Nothing else. It's extruded aluminum. It's worth money. Okay. Now, should I or shouldn't I? I might just risk it. Usually, with boards like this, with these great big chunky pin power connectors, I'll get my torch out and heat the board up and pull these connectors out just so they don't melt in the kiln and entomb the gold. But I don't know. Maybe I should risk it this time. These look substantial, like they might not melt. So last time I did Force 10 equipment, that's what I did. I took these blue connectors with the big chunky gold pins off the boards before I depopulated the rest of the boards in the kiln. And what I found was I could just push these pins right out of these connectors with a pair of pliers. You know, in about 5 minutes I had all the connectors done. That was a beautiful thing. But, I don't know. I may try them in the kiln and see how it goes. All right, but there's a few things I don't want to run through the kiln. I want to get these gold pins off the back of the boards because they're buried deep inside these connectors, and those could melt and entomb the gold. So that came off pretty darn easy. There's the gold pins in there. I'll have to pull them out. I'll have to get my needle nose pliers out and pull them out. Oh yeah, nice and easy. I like it when they come off nice and easy. Let's see how this does. Well, the front came off. Look at those gold pins. Isn't that beautiful? I hope that's showing up. That's a lot of gold there. A lot of gold plating anyway. Let me see if I can do a little better on this one and actually get it off the board. Ow! Yes, I did. I guess I'm not going to bleed. Okay, good. So there's the pins. Get this front piece off. Wiggle it off. I can expose the pins. There they are. Yep. All right. There's all the pins. Nice. There they are. Oh, I guess I am going to bleed. Ah, well. It's gold. It's worth a little blood for. Alright, so I guess this board's ready to go into the kiln. It says deviation on it. I wonder if they deviated from the plan a little bit for this thing. Alright, that's interesting. Alright, so this board's ready for the kiln. This board's ready for the kiln. This board, well, let me look at this other big board first and get all the gold pins off of it, because it's got even more. Like I said, take my needle nose pliers and pull those pins out of there. There, that's the way to get them out. Okay. Alrighty. There we go. Okay. Yep, there they are. Once you get the hang of it, they're pretty easy to take apart. expose all the gold. And I will have to do a video pretty soon on how to process gold pins. The plating on these pins, to be perfectly honest, is pretty thin and most of the time. You can get what's called mil spec, which is a little bit thicker, but really, the plating is thin. So you got to have a lot of pins, really, before you get a lot of gold. And it helps to have a lot of pins before you even start the processing to make it worthwhile. But I'll get more pins because there's gold pins in these connectors, there's gold pins in the blue connectors. So there'll be more gold. Okay, so this board here, each of these two boards has 8 of these optical port connectors on them. And what worries me about these is that they might, the connector in the back here might melt in the kiln. Let me see if I can expose it. Now that's easy enough. These come right off. Alright, those connectors. Oh yeah, look at that. That came right off. I'm sure it's not showing up on the camera, but there's nice gold pins in there that mated with the pins or the fingers on the edge of the optical port. Yeah, I'm a little worried that this plastic part might melt in the kiln, so I think I'm just going to rip them all off. They're surface mount. They come off fairly easy. Oh, there's an errant gold pin that came out of that one. Actually, there's a few errant gold pins here. You know what? Maybe I will risk it with these two and see if they will fall off in the kiln when it gets up to temperature above the melting point of solder. Maybe these will, since they're surface mount, if they were through hole, I'd be more worried about it. But they're surface mount, so they may just fall off. They'll fall into the catch basin in the bottom of the kiln where it's a lot cooler and they won't melt. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. But I'm going to do the same thing on this board. I'm going to take these metal pieces off just so there's nothing in the way. Nothing to prevent them from falling off once the kiln gets up to temperature. So they don't just sit there and bake and eventually melt and entomb all the lovely gold they contain in them. Okay, get these gaskets off. Alright. Alright, I think all these boards now are ready for the kiln. So we got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boards that are going to be going through the kiln. And then, once they're depopulated in the kiln, all the parts fall off, drop into the catch basin. We'll be able to sort them out and see what we got. And that's probably a project for another day. It's getting late. I need to make dinner. So maybe I will, if it's not pouring down rain, depopulate these boards tomorrow morning. And then maybe by tomorrow afternoon, the parts will be cool enough to sort out. Alright, I'll see you then. Okay, all the boards are in the kiln. I've got them arranged in there so that, well, the one board is barely big enough to fit. But they're all arranged in there, so hopefully they will heat up and the parts will fall right off. People ask me in the comments of my videos why I use a kiln. Why don't I use an air chisel, or why don't I use this, or why don't I use that, a hot sand bed, whatever. And well, I've got kilns. I've got a couple of kilns. So I own kilns, so I use them. You know, might as well use them rather than let them sit here. And I don't know, call me lazy. I can put the boards in the kiln and start it up, walk away for an hour, come back, shake the boards, bang on them a little bit, all the parts fall off into the catch basin down at the bottom of the kiln, and I'm done. Yeah, I could spend that hour productively doing something else or just goofing off. But either way, the kiln is doing the work for me. So that's why I use kilns. Use whatever works for you. Okay, I'm going to close the lid on the kiln and get the cycle started. And in a little over an hour, all the parts will be off these boards. Then we'll sort them out once it's cool. Alright, it's later the same day. The boards are all depopulated, everything's cooled down, it's all out of the kiln. I've got the parts all sorted out on the table here. What I'm going to keep and what I'm not going to keep and what's worth what. And I'm going to start by talking a little bit about the circuit boards themselves. One thing I forgot to do before they went in the kiln was take these connectors here off, these aluminum body connectors. They come off pretty easy because they're just pressed in. As I say, they come off easy, and I get one that doesn't come off easy. These come apart pretty easy. You can pry them apart with like a screwdriver and a pair of pliers, and then get all of the gold pins out of them. And there are a lot of gold pins in these. Just wear gloves when you do it, because there's a lot of sharp edges on them. There's a lot of sharp pins along here. The through hole pins are really sharp, and you will be bloody. But it's worth the effort to take these apart. I will take these all off these boards later off camera. The boards themselves, with the Force 10 equipment, are really thick and heavy. There's got to be a lot of layers of copper in there. So I'm sure these will sell well at the scrapyard, because my scrapyard buys old circuit boards by the pound, and boy, these are really thick and heavy. But first I'm going to run them through the Eco Goldex gold stripper and see if I can strip the gold plating off. Even though I'm sure it's thin, I don't want to waste it. So we'll take that to the scrapyard and after we get the gold plating off. All right, let me take the camera off the tripod, give you a close-up look at some of these piles, and tell you what's what here. First pile here is just the garbage: electrolytic capacitors, magnetics, non-gold plated headers, whatnot, balls of solder, all kinds of stuff I got out of the catch basin there that's just not worth anything. Got some LEDs here. Each LED has a little bit of gold in it. But now we're getting into the good stuff here. We got a big pile of gold corner BGAs. They're small ones, but that's okay. They're good ones. Love the gold corner BGAs. Got a bigger pile of these epoxy top BGAs here, and these have good gold in them too, so I really can't complain about this. Lot of good gold here between these two piles. I got a small pile of other IC chips. Most of the chips on these boards were BGAs, which is great. A lot of these smaller glue chips, just not much to them there. But, you know, I'll add them as my feedstock for gold recovery from IC chips. I'm sure there's some gold in there. Here's all of the ceramic BGA chips that were on the boards. Got a bunch of big white ceramic ones and a couple of small gray ceramic ones, or purple ceramic, I guess they actually are. As far as I can tell, there's no real gold in these, at least not that I have been able to find. If somebody out there in YouTube land has experience with actually getting some precious metals out of these, hit me up with a comment or an email and tell me what I'm doing wrong, or what you're doing right, because I can't find any in them. Maybe if crushed them up and smelted them I could get something out, but I certainly can't find anything in them with my regular methods. More BGAs. These are what I call the metal top BGAs. And they have a sheet of copper on top of them, and the back part is kind of like like a gold corner BGA or one of these BGAs here, just an oversized version of it. And what you can do is get a knife blade in there and peel the green fiber and black epoxy part away from the copper plate, and then process that like a regular BGA chip, and you'll get the gold out of it. There's a fair amount of gold in these, and I got quite a few of them, several different types, so that's nice. Got a bunch of tantalum capacitors here. I think every one on these boards was a black tantalum capacitor. I found a few little orange ones or yellow ones in the bottom of the kiln, but I think they were left over from the last thing I depopulated in the kiln. there's probably bits left over from this in the bottom of the kiln I'll pull out next time. Sort of paying it forward. You know, I never quite get the kiln totally clean unless I vacuum it. So I think there's bits here that were left over from last time, but not many. Okay, we got, this is in no particular order, by the way. We've got a lot of MLCCs, monolithic ceramic chip capacitors. Variety of sizes. And this is just a representative sample. There are a whole bunch of them still in the catch basin that I haven't got around to sorting out yet. I would imagine there's probably another 1,000 of them in there, amongst all of the rest of the debris. Sooner or later I'll get it all sorted out. Like I said, this is just a representative sample. Let me get a magnet and show you. Yeah, they're mostly... Well, they're mostly magnetic, but I'll tell you what, the really big gray ones don't appear to be. Alright, but most of the others do appear to be magnetic. But the big gray ones, they just sit there while I pick up all the little ones. Okay, interesting. So I will sort these out by magnetic and non-magnetic and put them in my different jars. The non-magnetic ones are supposedly better because they have palladium in them. But apparently they all have some silver in them. Someday I'll actually try processing them and find out. Or maybe I'll just sell them to somebody else to process. Okay, moving on down the line. Got all the other semiconductors that were on the boards. Transistors, voltage regulators, buck and boost converters, whatnot. So, got all those. They all have a little bit of gold in them. Speaking of gold, wow, look at that. That's impressive. There were a lot of gold-plated headers on those boards. And I'll tell you what, you can tell from the color of that gold, that beautiful color, that is not a thin, cheap coating on those headers. That's got a really nice, thick gold plating. So that's nice. There were also a bunch of gold-plated fuses. If I can get it to focus. Come on. There we go. There were about this many fuses that were not gold-plated. I threw them in the trash pile, but there were these gold-plated fuses. Got a whole bunch of gold band oscillators. Hit the jackpot with the gold band oscillators. I have never had so many come off of just 2 pieces of equipment before. Wow, that is a lot of gold band oscillators. I'm loving that. Got some other gold-plated stuff over here. Got the RJ45 connectors, the gang units here. Each of these units has 8 gold-plated pins in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we got 16 times 8 for each of these. Also got some gold plating on the RAM stick sockets here, and these little sockets that the optical module is plugged into have gold plating in them. So all this stuff will probably go through the Eco Gold X gold plating stripper. I have a video on that. I'll put a link to it. I made a decision to leave. Oh, that's got a transistor stuck to it. I'll put that in the transistor pile. I made the decision to leave these connectors on the boards when they went through the kiln. Well, it was a calculated risk and one that didn't pay off so well. About half of them melted pretty badly. The other half are okay. I should be able to get the big chunky gold-plated pins out of them pretty easy. The other half, well, I might have to incinerate them to get them out, which is unfortunate. But certainly not going to throw them away. I'll figure it out. Now, speaking of chunky gold-plated pins, these Force 10 units have these power conversion modules on them, which for some reason don't depopulate well in the kiln. Still got a lot of MLCCs and looks like little surface mount transistors on them. Maybe they use higher melting point solder on these. I don't know. Maybe they generate a lot of heat in operation. But they also have a lot of really chunky gold pins on them. I hope that's in reasonable focus there. Each of these modules has gold pins, and they press out really easy. That's another thing I like about the Force 10 equipment. All these gold pins here and, well, on these connectors that aren't melted, can be pressed out fairly easy with just a pair of pliers. So I will get all of these gold pins out of here. And also, I just noticed there's some gold plating on some of these boards too. See that shining in the sun? Probably not much, but a little bit. I'll have to go through them and see. Is that the only one? That might be the only one. Huh, okay. It's like one board has gold plating on it. Okay, not a big deal. But I will get those chunky gold pins off of these, and then I don't know if it's really worth even trying to depopulate these boards just for a few MLCCs and surface mount transistors. I don't know. I'll think about it. But I'm definitely getting the gold pins. Oh, wait a minute. That one's got some gold plating on it too. Yeah, as well as gold pins. Okay. The only other thing of any note here, a small pile of aluminum heat sinks. There were on some of these power transistors down here. So I'll just add those to the heat sink collection. And then last but not least, here's all the stuff, all the gold plated stuff that we took off the boards before they went in the kiln. All the gold plated pins, the RAM sticks, whatnot in here. So all in all, this was a really great haul from just 2 modules, and I've still got all the gold pins to get out of those connectors over there. So this is like I said, a really great haul from just 2 modules. I love the Force 10 equipment. I love it when I can get it. Pretty rare, but every once in a while some comes my direction, and can't wait until I get some more someday. So it's getting late in the day. I've got to get all this stuff put away. As usual, there's heavy weather coming, so I need to hurry up. So I'm going to wrap this up and say I hope you found this video interesting, enlightening, killed some time, educational, whatever. Give it a thumbs up, give it a like. Please subscribe to see future videos, and press the little bell icon so you'll be notified when they come out. They are always coming out. We've got more in the pipeline coming. And have a good day, and see you next time. Bye.